Hi everyone, thank you for joining us again for another workshop in the Future of Blockchain University Hackathon. Today we have Aayush from Nethermind, who's going to teach us how to deploy your first Cairo smart contract.
My name is Aayush and I work as a developer relations engineer for Nethermind. And today we are going to see how to deploy a first Cairo smart contract on Starknet. So let me just start by sharing my screen. Okay. So here I have my README file, which is there, but I'll be going through this side by side and I'll push this code after we are done with this workshop. So for deploying a smart contract on Starknet, there are few requirements on the development environment perspective, which is that you need to have SCARB installed, you need to have SN Forge installed for smart contract deployments, Starkly for declaring your smart contracts, and Cargo, which is a package manager for Cairo language. And you also need to have ASDF installed, which is like a package manager for Cargo, which is similar to how we have NVM for node versions, managing different node versions. So basically this is the first step where we install ASDF. So let me just do that. So after that is done, we can just add it to the ZSHRC file. And after that is done, we need to add SCARB, which is added as a plugin to ASDF. So we can do that then. So after that is done, we can have it at the latest version. And the next command is to set a version which is global for all the projects that we make, which is 2.9.1 and this is the latest one. So after that is done, we can install Starknet Foundry, which will help you interact with your smart contract. It is similar to how we have Hardhat or Foundry for normal Solidity development, but this is for Starknet. So we can add this now. Then after this is done, we can also update it to the latest version. Then so in the meantime, okay, so it's done. Then I can declare a global version, and now we install Starkly. So this might take a little while, I believe. Okay, so it's done. Now this is an important step that you reopen your terminal so that all the path files are updated. So let me open my terminal again. And I'll increase the so let me just adjust this, and after that we can see if Starkly has been installed. Starkly up. So this would install the thing which we downloaded just now using the curl command. And after this is done, we can see whether Starkly has been installed or not. If you see something similar to this, then Starkly has been installed, and you can verify the other installations as well here by pasting these commands. So you can see SCARB is installed, Cairo is installed, SN Forge is installed, and this is for Starkly. So this is what the expected output should be. And now the next requirement is for you to have an Argent wallet or Bravos, whatever you like. And let me just create one wallet in front of you. So this would be a wallet, and what you need to do is create a, let me put my password. Okay, so this is already a deployed wallet. As you can see, for example, I can go to the settings and show you that this is basically a deployed wallet, because you don't get an option here. But when you will get started, you will have a fresh wallet which is not deployed because we have account abstraction inbuilt in Starknet. So to explain that thing, I would like to create a new account. Let us go with the standard one. So account 3 is the new account which through which we'll be deploying a smart contract. And the next step would be to fund this account. So you can use the faucets which are available, but I have some fund here, so I'll just use it to transfer it to my demo account. Now we'll go to this and we can transfer a small amount. Okay, so since you know Starknet has a very high fast speed, so the transaction has already been completed. And for this, we actually need to deploy our wallet. So I'll go to this section again so that you can see in the account section. See, we have a deploy account option, which is what you need to do when you have a new account there. So we can deploy it, and this was cost some ETH, and that is the reason I transferred some ETH from my previous account to this so that it is already funded before it is deployed. So let us just wait for some time and it is deployed. Starknet is so fast that it sometimes feels like I'm working on a test net. Okay. Okay, so that is done. After that, we need to actually set up our account on local. Now, what we need to do is export our private key from Argent wallet, and you need to follow these steps. Go to settings, export private key. You can see my private key for this demo because I'll be removing that wallet anyway. So let me just go to settings and account, export private key, put in your password. You will have your private key. Then let us just keep it somewhere for now and we'll come back to this. Okay, so I'll create a folder for Starkly wallets. Then this is what we need to do, create a restore file where we'll save all the information about the account, and it will ask for your private key, and this is the reason I saved it here. I'll just copy it now. I'll paste it here. I'll just leave the password empty for now, and you have all your encrypted key store present. So now the next step would be to set up the account configuration. So you need to export those values. So there it is. And in this step, you need to have your wallet address present here. So for that, I'll go to again this thing, copy my wallet address and replace this part with my actual address. Now you can copy this command. And as you can see, we now have downloaded the new account configuration files. The next would be to set that account as an environment variable. So we'll do that. So now you have set up everything which is required, the local development tools, the account is set up, and now you can start creating your projects and deploy your contracts. So for this demo, I have already created a GitHub repo and we're pushing the code after this workshop ends. So I'll just go inside that folder, code workshop. So I'm just skipping this step because we already have a folder. Then we initiate a project using SNForge, which is similar to how you do it for Foundry. So after that is done, let us just open this project. And now you can see that the boilerplate gives us a source folder, test folder, gitignore, scarp.toml. So I would like to explain like what a scarp.toml file is. You can think of scarp.toml file as a cargo.toml file, which we have for Rust projects. And you can see the similarity here itself, like from the UX of this file itself, because it is very similar to Rust. Now, this is where you put the name of your project, the version which you wanted. After that, we have to add Starknet as a dependency, but for the boilerplate, it comes on its own. Then we need to put as dev dependency, SN Forge, and Azure macros. So all these things comes on its own. And in the source folder, you can see that we have a lib.cairo file, which is like a boilerplate hello world type of thing for Cairo. So in the evolving landscape of blockchain development, Cairo stands out as a unique programming language, which is specifically designed for Starknet. So let us just explore this simple smart contract that demonstrates Cairo's key features. Okay, so the contract at a glance, the Hello Starknet contract we are examining today is a straightforward balance management system. So while I'll just zoom it a bit more if you guys would be able to see it in a better way. Okay, so this contract consists of two main parts, which is an interface and an implementation. So the interface is marked using this metadata thing, which defines a contract for storing and retrieving a numerical value. So this separation of interface and implementation is more than just good practice. It's the correct way of Cairo design's philosophy, which promotes clarity and reusability. You can relate it to Rust more and more. So the contract uses FEL 252 type for storing the balance, as you can see in this section. Uh, think of FEL 252 as Cairo's version of a large integer, so which is capable of handling the mathematical operations common in blockchain applications. So unlike traditional programming languages where you might use standard integers, Cairo field elements, which is FEL 252, operate within a finite field. So finite field is you can think of it as a set which overlaps when it overflows. So basically, you come back to the first element when you move out of it, right? So making them particularly suitable for cryptographic operations, and that is what I would say a very good use case for Cairo and Starknet itself. So the functionality of this contract, the contract provides two main functions, which is increase balance and get balance. It is a very simple contract. So the increase balance function comes with a built-in safety check. It won't accept zero as an input, which is demonstrating Cairo's approach to contract safety, which is not present in other contract languages like Solidity. So when it comes to storing data, the contract uses explicit read and write operations, making state changes clear and intentional, like what you want to do. And the storage pattern used here, a single balance variable, might seem simple, but it demonstrates Cairo's storage handling system. Each storage variable gets its unique slot, managed automatically by the Starknet network. This approach ensures that the data integrity prevents storage collision. So, like, you would have this question, like, why does this matter? Like, why are we doing all these things? So, this contract, while it is basic, but it illustrates a few key principles of Cairo development. The explicit state management and uh, a strong type system gives us a clear separation of concerns, which make it an excellent example of how to write secure and maintainable smart contracts on Starknet. So for developers coming from other languages, it showcases like what are the unique features for Cairo, and while maintaining familiarity with programming patterns, which mostly come from Rust. But yeah, so when deploying this contract, each function becomes an endpoint that the user can interact with. The balance can be queried or increased through the transaction calls, with all changes being permanently recorded on the network. So as you can see, we have a generic trait type, which is tree contract state, which is used. So whenever you have a read-only uh, function, you would use contract state as self. So for read only things, you have to add this at the rate symbol, which is like referencing to the element there. And for some write operations, you don't have to put that at the rate thing. And then we can move on to the test section. So this is just the text test section which you can write using SN Forge, which is like the foundry for Starknet contracts. Then this is like this is like the SN cast, which is out of scope for this workshop, but I would say uh, we can just now try deploying this contract and see how things goes. So what we can do now is get back to our this thing. Uh, we have the terminal. Okay. So now we need to build this contract. As I said, like there are many similarities from Rust, so you need to first build the project. Okay. So now we need to declare the contract. So this is something which is very unique to Starknet, is that you need to declare a contract before deploying it, which means that, for example, if we think of it in this way, that you have a signature for every contract that you write, and you need to just declare it once and deploy it in multiple instances. It is how oops is designed, like the object oriented programming, so something similar to that. You declare a class once and then you create instances of that class. So something similar to that. That is why we need to first declare the contract and then we can deploy it. So this is what I said, like to declare and deploy you need Starkly, and that is the reason we installed it in the first local environment setup part of the workshop. So we have just, I think, what was the last command that we did? Okay, so let us just try declaring it again. If we have already run this command, it should give us an error otherwise. So we need to enter a password. So there was no password. So not declaring class as it has already been declared. That is what I said. So to create a to create a new unique class, I would have to change something in the contract. So then it would have to declare the contract again. So let us just try doing that. Maybe adding another storage variable would not help, because the contract would still remain the same at the Sierra level. And what we can do is that, get back to this. So we have this class hash now. Let me just save it somewhere, which is related to this particular contract. So let me just add it here just for reference. Okay, and now let us just try deploying this contract. Starkly deploy, and we need to paste the class hash after that. Oh, I need to put a space there. Just a second. Okay. So we need to again put a password. So actually, as you can read the warning, we are neither using an RPC or nor a network. So it picks up the default values, which is Starknet public RPC URL, and in network it selects Sepolia, which is the test network, and we again need to enter the password. So we don't have a password in our case. I'll just press enter, and as you can see, it tried deploying the class with some salt value. That is the reason we have unique addresses for every uh, class that is already declared. So for example, there is a smart contract which is already declared, but I need to put more instances of this smart contract. Then I need to have some element in between to make it differentiate between those instances that have been created. So that is the reason we use this salt thing. So the contract will be deployed at an address this, and the contract has deployment transaction is this, and we can just look at this on Voyager. So Voyager is the blockchain explorer for Starknet. So we can go to Voyager, try checking this out. First, switch it to Sepolia. Okay, so this is the transaction. As you can see, it has already been accepted on L2, and this is the sender address, and this is the deployed contract. Okay, so as you can see, the class hash is specified, salt is specified, and this is the address. So let me just copy the address from the CLI itself so that we have clarity like what we are trying to do. So this is the deployed contract, and now you can interact with this contract using either Starknet JS or directly through some explorer. Okay, so as you can see that this contract has been deployed, but we haven't verified it yet. So we can go to write contract. In write contract, you can see we have an increase balance function. In read contract, we have get balance function. So we can try doing this thing. We can increase it by 10. Uh, we need to connect it with our wallet. 10, transact, confirm, and it has been done. We can open it on Voyager. It has already been accepted on L2. Okay, yeah, and now we can try querying it from read contract. Query. So this is actually written in hex format right now. We can put it as a decimal. So yeah, so you can see that this is 10. So this is how you deploy your very first smart contract that you get as a template from SN and this is how you do it. This is how you set up your local environment for setting up everything so that you are good to go to deploy your contracts. And yeah, I believe like this sums up our workshop. And yeah, so I believe like we are done. So I'll push this code as soon as we finish this workshop with a readme file attached. Okay, yeah, so I can see if you guys have some questions. So are you paying with ETH to deploy to Starknet? Yes, we are paying with ETH to deploy on Starknet. Yet another language to learn, but it is an interesting language if you feel like doing it, because you have so many features with Cairo that are not present in Solidity or any other programming language which is specific for smart contract development. And what was the point of the smart contract again? So it is just a basic smart contract which will help you to increase a variable amount or then query the variable amount. That's it. So it is for balance tracking, Rebecca said. So what's the point if you can just find out through AP? What's the point if you can just find out through API? I mean, you have the same question with any blockchain, right? You can query it using Ether.js and any RPC API that RPC URL that you have. So think you may need a primer on blockchain. Okay, okay. So I started my project already. What's with the sneak this? I don't get what you guys are saying. So thank you, Elvin. And do we have any other questions?
Yeah, let's see if there's any questions about the actual workshop. And no, they're just having a bit of a discussion in the comments there. Alex
Yeah.
has a question.
So should I stop sharing my screen? I believe like is that okay?
Yeah, it should be okay, and hopefully Alex's question is just a verbal one. Who can we contact if we need help is Alex's question.
So you can contact anyone from Nethermind either in the Telegram channels or Discord. We are happy to help you wherever you get stuck. Or you can just directly reach out to me on any of my socials. So yeah, like I'm there on Twitter, Telegram, everywhere.
Cool. If you
Yeah.
tag the Nethermind team in the Discord, someone will be able to get back to you regarding the hackathon,
Yeah.
or obviously for any other support as well. You can go directly to the
Okay.
team.
So yeah, like I was just
Have you read
okay. So
Mohammed?
Mohammed has this question that just to be clear, Cairo is the only supported language on Starknet, right? So yes, Cairo is the language which is only supported on Starknet, but Cairo has many uses apart from being on Starknet. Like it is a self-independent language which can be used for making verifiable computation applications. For example, uh, Cairo is basically a language which was built for efficient proof generation. So think of it in this way. For example, I have a cloud server and I don't trust those guys for giving my data. And so for example, I have given them some data and I just wanted to know what the result is out of the data. Now, I don't know if they ran the same data which I gave them and gave me the result. So what these guys can do, that create their program in Cairo, give it to the cloud people and say that you run this application and create a proof with all this data. And now I can say with the proof that with like after the verification of proof, I can say that okay, I know that this was the data that I gave them, and they actually did the computation on my data, and this is the result. So basically, it is not only related to Starknet. Like the main use case for Cairo is for development of smart contracts on Starknet, but there is a separate, what do I say, field where you can explore like what other things can be done with Cairo. So it is basically a language which helps you for verifiable computation of programs. And then, okay, thank, I don't come from Rust background, so wondering if there might be a quicker way in. So even if you don't know much about Rust, you can just start using the Starknet documentation and go to the Cairo book. So I can just give you the resource. So this is like the Bible for learning Cairo. Let me just give you the link. So shall I, Rebecca? Shall I put it in this chat itself, or okay?
Yeah, it is actually in the hackathon bounty things as well. You beat me to it. I was also just looking for the
Yeah,
Cairo book.
yeah. And apart from that, how? Okay, thanks. I don't. Okay, how can I learn more about Cairo language? Will ChatGPT help? Unfortunately, AI agents or ChatGPT or Claude would not be able to help you with that because Cairo is a very fast evolving language. It has reached a certain stable point now that no much breaking changes are done recently, but still, like the GPTs and all the LLM models are not trained to be very good at Cairo. Maybe they can help you if you provide them with all the information, like taking all the material from the Cairo book, pasting it in the chat GPT, and like, so you would have to do some effort to get material out of chat GPT. So I have a question, Emmanuel. For the crypto track, it is not necessary to use Cairo, right? We can make first. I believe you would have to make something on Starknet. So for that, the question which you asked, like contributions regarding protocol or algorithm performance improvements. So that is building Starknet. It is not building on Starknet. So this bounty is about building on Starknet. So making some DApp or some applications on Starknet is what the bounty is looking for. Will so Alex is a question that will other blockchains follow a similar process as well? So if you can explain like what process are you talking about, Alex, maybe. So yeah, AI is not so useful for non-mainstream languages. Uh, Cairo is a mainstream language. If you don't know about it, it's just that it is evolving, and so the GPT cannot keep up with the pace that we are on. Okay, deploying contracts. I mean, this is an architectural decision that we took because it helps save us in storage. Like, for example, there is no point in having the same contract deployed again and again. So it is better you have one uh, class of that particular contract and deploy it multiple times instead of deploying the contract itself multiple times. So that is the answer. So I mean, like, it depends on other blockchains. I can't say for them like what architectural plan that they have, but this is what I can say is that this is the most efficient and best way to do these things.
Cool. And you guys have 6 and a bit weeks until the deadline, so lots
Yeah.
of time to learn. Alex asks if you have any advice, possibly for first-time builders, maybe for experienced builders.
Okay. So Alex, could you just give out like what type of developer are you? For example, if you have an experienced background, then it is a different approach, and if you don't have a experienced background, then it is a different approach. Or I can just say about both, I believe. So someone who is very new to like Ethereum as a whole, I think it would be a little hard for them to learn about Starknet and why things are the way they are. And the language, I don't feel that language would ever be an issue because language is just a tool. You can just find out everything about, like, for example, if you have some code in Solidity, just try googling or asking people like how to convert this thing to the same thing in Cairo, because it is all about logic, like what you want to do. But language should never be a barrier for you guys, that this is a very hard language. I would not want to do things on Starknet only because it is a hard language. It is not a hard language, believe me. If you get into it, you would take like a week of effort to get at least to the intermediate, like above average in Cairo. And for someone who is already experienced, and uh, I am assuming that if someone is experienced, they would have learned Rust. So for them, it is just a 1 day or 2 day task to understand how Cairo is working. They just have to figure out how the moving parts are involved in Starknet, like what is the structure of accounts, how are the transactions sent to the blockchain, the basic stuff for any blockchain that you are getting into. So yeah, how much do we have to focus on market research and business related apps? So that is the best thing, because for example, Bhavishyan asked this question. So basically at Starknet we are looking for dApp builders who are interested in making money themselves and they want to build products. So that is a very important thing that you should focus on, that what is the market that you're trying to capture, what is a business model, how do you want to earn, and all those things. And when you feel that you have done everything, the market research, business model, your POC or MVP for the application is complete, feel free to apply for any grant programs that we have, because we would want such projects to come up and be live on Starknet. And so the next question by Alvin is, how do you suggest we get up to speed on ETH and its architecture and how it works? So speed up on ETH, as in, I'm not able to understand the question. So learning Ethereum development, or
I think that's what Alvin means, yeah.
okay, so learning Ethereum development would be the best places to go to ethereum.org to learn about Ethereum as a whole. That is like the, what do I say, holy book for anyone who wants to get into Web3. And after that is done, you can move on to learning Solidity, or I would like to say Cairo first. But yeah, but learning Solidity will help you understand Cairo in a much quicker time frame. So learn Solidity from maybe Solidity by examples, Crypto Zombies. There are many places where you can learn Solidity. Maybe go onto a video on YouTube for an hour and just try to complete it. And after that, you can move to any blockchain, not only Starknet, but any blockchain. But I would want you to move to Starknet. Okay, so how it works? Okay, learning Cairo Solidity is for writing smart contracts. Yes, John, it is for writing smart contracts. But like just the same thing which I mentioned, that Solidity does not have a utility outside Ethereum, but Cairo has a utility even outside Starknet. So this is the thing, like Cairo can be used to write other things, other programs like vanilla Cairo, but the main utility that we are focusing on is writing smart contracts using Cairo. Think of it in this way, that in Solana you write smart contracts using Rust, but that is not the main use case for Rust, right? You can do many things with Rust. What are some dApps you have seen been built on Starknet? So there are many apps that are generating a lot of revenue for themselves and for everyone. Like everyone is in like win-win situation. There's Ikubo, there's Avenue, there's Nostra, Cartridge. There are many players that are there. You can just go onto the Starknet ecosystem page and you will find all the projects that are uh, gaining traction on this chain. Does privacy security people need to learn it who wanna write proofs? So this is what I was saying, that you don't have to learn everything, like how the proofs are generated and all those things. All those part have been abstracted for a developer who is not into ZK and all those things. You just have to write your smart contracts and the proofs are generated in the backend, like by the sequencers, by the sequencer that is there. So you don't have to get into ZK and all those things, like how the proof is generated and all those things. I mean, it is good for your knowledge, you can do that, but yeah, like anyone who has smart contract development experience can get started. Rebecca, okay, yeah, so you shared the link. No, for those who want to get into ZK and not into smart contracts. Okay, so for this, I would suggest, like, there's a repo called Awesome ZKP by Matter Labs. So that is a very good resource to learn about zero knowledge proofs. After that, 0x APAC is there. You can go there to learn about ZK. Other than that, there is no, I don't feel like there is a path for any type of thing which is still evolving like ZK. You would have to go through Google, read papers, try implementing them. There is no easy way out or a guided path to learning ZK. Awesome ZKP, is this the same link?
I think it takes them to the landing page that has like the GitHub and then Notion and stuff linked.
Okay, I'll just put the one which I was saying as well, maybe like. So the link which I'm sharing is like a primer for you to understand, like, okay, this is what is happening in ZK. What is the thing that people are trying to achieve by using ZK and all those things. So it does not teach you the ZK stuff, but it helps you understand like why people are doing it and how they are doing it and all those things. And if you want to get into ZK, my personal suggestion would be to learn abstract algebra first, because like you can learn it in the process of learning ZK also. But if you have that abstract algebra knowledge previously, then it is like a cherry on top. So yeah.
So do we have any other questions? If not, we'll end it there for today. And we have one. Oh,
Yeah, but I am asking, do we need to learn about smart contracts for roles in ZK? Like, do people have a team in ZK research? Okay, so I believe he's trying to ask like, yeah, we have a ZK research team, and I was actually a part of the research team before joining as a DevRel at Nethermind. I was actually working as a cryptography research engineer, but so they also have to write smart contracts. Not most of the time, like I would say maybe 5%. Sometimes we do it. It depends actually on the research which we are doing. So it is not very specific to any blockchain or any language. Maybe but usually it is done in Rust. So that is how I learned Cairo, like in a quicker way, because I had this background with Rust. Why leave crypto if writing smart contracts? I mean, it depends on your choice, man. I mean, this was something which I wanted, so yeah, I just switched. It is not that I don't write cryptography research work right now. I still do it, but on my personal level. And if you just try getting into it, you would find like how difficult it is to figure out problems that no one has solved yet, because that is what the research engineering team at Nethermind does. Yeah, there are more jobs in the later, I guess. So I mean, I don't know about this. So yeah.
okay. Cool. Thank you, Aayush, for coming in. And thank you for coming in and giving that workshop. I'm sure it's been really, really useful for people who want to build for the Nethermind bounty. If anyone has any more questions, they can contact you on Twitter, or they can tag the Nethermind team in the Discord, and they can get technical support and just general support about the bounty. We have one more workshop this week, which is being run by the Spectral team, and that's on Wednesday at the same time as always. And then we're going to have, I think then by that point, it'll be 5.5 weeks of building, including the winter break, where you can keep building or you can stop and have a break.
Thank you, guys.